All right, today we're going to talk about integers. Okay, integers. One of the basic building blocks of what you're going to do in math throughout the rest of your high school and into college. The word integer is talking about three things. Okay, not really three things, I guess, but it is, but it isn't. But you'll see. Okay, integers. Okay, integers is the set of numbers that include positive and negative integers and zero. Okay? Mr. Alvarado, I want you to count to 10 for me, please. And this is not a trick, just count to 10.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Okay? Noah, count to 10 for me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay? You will notice that when both Brandon and Noah counted, they didn't count like this. 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, 0.8, 0.9, 1, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. They didn't count like that, right? They counted like most of us count. And they used basically the counting numbers, or what some people will call whole numbers. Okay? So first of all, positive integers are the positive counting numbers. Okay, and as I said, some people will call those whole numbers. I call them counting numbers. So when I think of counting numbers, I think of zero. I mean, when I think of whole numbers, 0 is a whole number. But you will notice I didn't say count to 10 starting with 1, did I? No, I just said count to 10. Did they use 0? No, most people don't. When you're out there playing hide and go seek with your friends, okay, and they say, all right, everybody go high, we're going to count to 20. You don't start with 0. You go 1, 2, 3, and you don't count that slow either. It's 1, 2, 3, and then 20. Right? Isn't that how you count, no? When you and your brothers are playing, hide and go seek and, playing with your buddies and, what was that, Jonah? Taking up for Jacob over there? All right, so positive integers are positive counting numbers, okay? Okay, positive integers are also on the right side of 0 on the number line. Okay, they fall on the right side of 0. All right, so if positive integers are the positive counting numbers and they fall on the right side, then negative integers are the negative, what we'd call counting numbers. Okay? And they fall, or let me put, they are on the left side of 0 on the number line. Okay, so we have positive integers, we have negative integers. Same thing here. -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, -7, and so forth are integers. They're counting numbers. Okay, not -0.1, -0.2, -0.3, anything like that. All right, now the last one is 0. Okay, everybody knows what 0 is, right? I shouldn't have to write a definition for 0. I do want to say this. 0 is neither, that's a terrible neither negative or positive. Okay, 0 is neither negative or positive. It's just 0. Okay, it doesn't fall on the left side, doesn't fall on the right side. It's just 0. No, I'm just looking at the cute little number line there. All right. So, any questions on what an integer is then? Okay. While I'm getting something here that I want to put up there, somebody tell me, anybody have a guess of why we have to have negative and positive numbers? What started negative and positive numbers? Anybody have a guess? Not everybody at once. Huh? Isaac, what do you think? Do what now? Yeah, well, no, that's a good guess, but no, that wouldn't be it. Anybody else have a guess? He just guessed, and at least he guessed. He didn't sit there like bumps on a log like the rest of you are doing. Anybody else have a guess? You probably won't guess it, because you are thinking too much in the sense of your lifetime. Let me finish putting this on here and I'll explain. All right. Now, here's why. Okay? The reason that we have positive and negative counting numbers. Okay? One of the reasons I think. Now, this is not like written in a history book or something. Okay? This is just the reason I think we have to have positive and negatives. The reason we have to have positive and negatives is because Adam and Eve. You know why? Because as we read in Genesis and we read about creation, we read about the Garden of Eden. Okay? Was the Garden of Eden before Adam and Eve sinned? Was the Garden of Eden a place where they had temperatures below 0? No. As the description gives us in the Bible, the Garden of Eden was a place where it was very comfortable, sunny, lush, plants, all sorts of animals, all that stuff. Okay? But then when Adam and Eve sinned, everything turned this way. Now, they had to get clothes, they had to, all the things that we've been talked about, all the things that went on after that. Okay? Well, what is one of the main areas that you would say that we see? What are two main areas that you think we see negative numbers in? What would be one of them? I just use one of them as an example. So when it's real cold, we have, like when you're up in Canada, places like that. What do you think, Noah? Yeah, you have negative temperatures. Okay, that's a negative. Okay, if Adam and Eve had never sinned, we wouldn't have had that, because God's perfect world was just, beautiful days, beautiful temperatures. Okay. Now, what's another place that you might have a negative? Okay, let me ask this. You ever heard of a check bouncing? Why does a check bounce? Because you have negative funds. You have negative amount of money in your account. Okay? So, what do you think, Jonah?
Like when you pay money that you don't have.
Exactly. Okay? So, what's another way to put that is this. Because of sin, there's a lot of greed, G-R-E-E-D, in the world. There's a lot of greed. Okay? And that greed leads to people doing bad things. Stealing money, because people are greedy, taking advantage of people. Okay? And so we have a lot of negatives in the form of money, something that, God talks about in the Bible. Don't be a lover of money. Okay? And so those are just two areas that the reason, once they had the sin that Adam and Eve did, then we have all these negatives that go about now. Okay? And so I personally think that, if Adam and Eve wouldn't have sinned, bottom line is somebody else would have. Okay? We can blame Adam and Eve, but, I guarantee you that if Adam and Eve hadn't have sinned, and we got all the way up to Noah over here, Noah would, take that last donut and not share it with somebody, and, he would, crave that last donut, or, Michael would, want that video game that so-and-so star, has, and so he might, sort of slip it under the rug or something, or, it just, other people would have sinned because that's our nature. So, we can blame Adam and Eve, but the bottom line is we wouldn't have gone 2,000 years and somebody not have sinned. Okay, that was just going to happen. It just happened to be Adam and Eve because they were the very first. Okay? But Adam and Eve were built, as God created them, they were built to last forever. It's only until when they sinned that they created a physical death and a spiritual death where they would, have to die. Okay? So I think that's one of the main reasons that we have positive and negative in our world. We've had positive and negatives back to the beginning of time. Okay? And so it's not like it just all of a sudden, it came along and, let's have negative numbers. Okay? So let's look at the little graph here, a little graph that we pulled out of the book. All right? This is talking about your positives and negatives. Okay? It says negative integers are the opposite of positive integers, written with a raised minus sign. Okay? So basically then, if you're writing a negative number, and you've probably written this, it's just -4. Okay? Now they're saying that it needs to be raised. Okay? That's fine. What they don't want you to do is this, because then that looks like a minus sign. Okay? -3 there looks like a minus sign. Okay? So try to, when you write like that, try to put it up here just a little. The book is also going to write the positive signs. I don't require you to write the positive signs. Okay? We assume that if we just have a number, for example, I just have the number 5, and there's no negative sign with it, then we assume that it's a positive 5. Okay? You don't have to do this and put the little plus sign with it right there. You don't have to do that. Now, for right now, if that helps you understand what we're doing, what we're talking about, then, yeah, you can do that. Okay? Then it says 0 is an integer that is neither positive or negative. We talked about that. Positive integers are whole numbers greater than 0, written written with or without a raised plus sign. Okay, we talked about that. So, as we look at this then, to this side is the positives. To this side is the negatives. Okay? Now, here's the part that people get confused about. The further left that you go, the further this way that you go, the smaller the number becomes. Okay? So, if I have this, if I have a number line, and here's 0, here's negative 10, here's negative 20, here's negative 30, here's negative 40. Okay? Well, 30 is going to be less than 20, negative 20. Negative 30 is a smaller number than negative 20. Okay? The further the number gets from 0 on the left side, the smaller it becomes. So if I was comparing those two numbers, it would look like this. Negative 30 is less than negative 20. Okay? If it was the other way, it would be like this. Okay, those are both equivalent. Okay, this one, the first one says negative 30 is less than negative 20, and then the second one says negative 20 is greater than negative 30. Okay? So the further you get to the left on the number line, the smaller the number becomes. Okay? Now, the word opposite is simply that. If I say positive 9, the opposite of positive 9 is negative 9. If I say negative 102, the opposite of negative 102 is 102. For every number on the number line, for this negative 20, over here, there's a positive 20. For this negative 30, over here, there's a negative 30, a positive 30. The same distance from 0 on the right side. Okay? Now, if they tell you to graph the number on a number line. Okay? If they tell you to graph the number on a number line. For example, I give you negative 12, and they tell you to graph it on a number line. Graph it and its opposite. Okay, well, here's what you would do. First of all, of course, you draw your little number line. Then we have 0. Then we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. On the left side, we have negative 2, negative 4, negative 6, negative 8, negative 10, negative 12, negative 14. Okay? And they tell you to graph it. Well, graphing means I'm going to take and find the number on the number line and put a dot there. Okay? That's the graph of negative 12. Okay? Now, they want me to graph its opposite. Well, I'd put a mark there, and I would put this, like I just did, and put opposite. Okay? Opposite of negative 12 is a positive 12. But this right here is graphing negative 12. Okay, that's how you would graph negative 12. It would tell you to graph the number on a number line. Now, is this a negative integer? Why? It is negative 2/3. Why is negative 2/3 not a negative integer? Somebody tell me. Why would negative 2/3 not be a negative integer? Is it a negative? Is it a negative? Yeah, it's a negative. But is it a negative integer? Yes or no? Who thinks yes? Raise your hand. Be proud if you think yes. Be proud if you think no. So who thinks no? Okay, if you think no, then you need to be able to explain why it's no. Okay, why is it no, Noah? Play on words. Why do you think it's no? Jonah, why do you think it's no? Very good. It's not a counting number. When you count, just like we talked about earlier, when you count, you don't go 1, or you don't go 0, 1/3, 2/3, 1, 1 1/3, 1 2/3, 2. You don't count like that, okay? Now maybe some brainiac in the world does or something because, he just wants to show off his intelligence, but normal people don't count using the word 2/3, okay? So, -2/3 is not an integer. Okay, well, what about 0.4? Is 0.4 an integer? Okay, why not? Because it's not a counting number. Okay, it is not an integer. Okay, what about -13? 1300, excuse me. -1300. Yes, it is. Okay, what is its opposite? Huh? 1300. It is an integer. And its opposite is 1300. Okay, like I said, you can put a positive sign above it if you'd like. Don't have to. Okay? So, pretty self-explanatory, not real hard. Okay? Let me look at something right quick. Okay. Your homework. 11.1 and 1 through 28. Now, it's a very easy lesson. Probably going to take you 10, 15 minutes at the most to do it. Okay? But make sure you do it because it's an easy grade. It should be an easy grade to get a good 100 on. Remember, this is homework, not cafe work. In other words, you get here Monday morning and you, oh gosh, I forgot we had homework. You try to do it in the 5 or 10 minutes you're down there not playing Clash of Clans or something. Or, whatever y'all were trying to play today when the internet was down. Was it Clash of Clans? Yeah, that's what I thought. We got like 2 seconds. Yeah. So you can go ahead, take your stuff with you.